Welcome back to the hour-long Arana Nation show. Tonight, I should say, carbon tax is going to go up a staggering 23%. Police in Toronto advise, or at least a police officer advised to leave your keys out for burglars so that they don't go into your house but take the car, which allegedly they always almost want. And congratulations to Vladimir Putin on winning re-election tonight. Another landslide, the greatest world leader at this very point in time. This is the Arana Nation.
Leave us the hell alone. We've won. I'm going to say we have won.
This small group, we resisted. We stood up to the government, standing up for our freedom. I'm saying because it's the truth, and the truth will set you free. Justin, the tar-faced Mac Daddy Trudeau, the son of Satan. This is the Arana Nation. How is everybody doing? This is Michael Arana, the Commander-in-Chief of the Arana Nation, the nation where the masses can walk barefoot because the land is holy, holy, holy ground. I am your host, Michael Arana. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, where have you been? I haven't seen you in a long time and all this and all this. I've been on Rumble, okay? That's where I am. That's where I'm only going to be. I have no other venue. I'm not on YouTube. I mean, I'm on YouTube now because I've just now restarted the Arana Nation show, which Frontline, among other groups, are streaming, and I welcome them to do wherever they want. But independently, I make very short videos on Rumble, rumble.com/Arana Nation. The only other place you'll find me is truthsocial.com/@Arana Nation. Now, no longer on BitChute, not on YouTube, none of those things independently. So that's where you can find me, where you want to see my little short videos. And then, of course, now I'm starting back with the Sunday show at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Most Sundays. I will tell you right now, next Sunday I will be out of action because it is spring break and I will be away to a place where the Wi-Fi and all that stuff is not going to be that great. So just letting you all know, Mr. Engineer, you know this. But it's it's nice to be back again. A lot has happened since the hiatus of the show. And most of the things I'm going to talk about are Canadian things. So that's what a lot of you guys seem to relate to. I will talk about a few international things when it's really big. But one of the things that's really disturbing, I'll start off with, is this whole thing with the carbon tax. First of all, Justin the tar-faced Mac Daddy Trudeau. You know, that's what I've been calling him for years now, ever since 2015. You know, Canadians now, they cannot stand him. I don't think he's going to win. Whether the election is going to be in 2 days or in a few months or when it's supposed to be next year. And I think Tarface Mac Daddy is going to make sure he's going to hold this thing out for as long as possible. There is going to be no Canadian, in my opinion, there's going to be no Canadian election this year. The next Canadian election is going to be in 2025 when it's supposed to be, when it has to be. The Tarface Mac Daddy is going to try and keep his NDP boot kissers on his side for as long as possible. And they're going to stay on his side for as long as possible. Jagmeet Singh is not going anywhere because it's Jagmeet Singh who is propping up the Tarface Mac Daddy and the Liberals, because Jagmeet Singh is not really that smart. And he is also going to go along with this carbon tax hike, which is going to raise the price of everything. Everything. It's going to be a disaster. And by the way, it's not going to fix anything to do with the environment either. And before I go further, I believe in global warming. I believe in climate change. I believe in all of those things. When you have too much carbon in the atmosphere and not enough oxygen, that is not a good thing. So And I'm not going to argue with anyone about anything about those things. My problem is that a carbon tax, first of all, those businesses, they're just going to put the tax on their prices, or they're going to leave. They're going to leave and they're going to go to other countries where they'll spew even more carbon, and that will leave us with an even dirtier world because they'll move to China where the Chinese, you can do whatever you want in China. If you have a factory and enough money to pay off the CCP, you can blast as much. You ever seen China? You ever seen Beijing? You have to wear masks in Beijing, not because of coronavirus, but because the air is so disgusting. It's like you can't breathe it without a mask, and even the mask doesn't work. So that's where they'll go. So we'll be left with a dirtier planet, and we will be left with less energy, and the energy prices will go up. So that is why the carbon thing is a scam. And I'm seeing here comments, oh, climate change is a scam. As I say, I'm not arguing with nobody about none. Don't recommend nobody to me. I don't know. No, because the fact of the matter is that too much. You can't have an Earth with all this carbon and not enough instruments like trees to suck out that carbon, because what's happening is that all these trees are being cut down and all this stuff, and there's a lot of carbon cars and all this stuff, and that's not good for the environment. But these people, these globalists, don't care about the environment. They care about power and money. And Justin the Tar-Faced Mac Daddy Trudeau is about to have a situation where the price, listen, when I do my grocery shopping, uh, it's like almost $200 just for me. I have heard of people with families who have had to pay over $400 for groceries, and that's because a part of it is greed, by the way. Part of it, but not all of it. In fact, not even most of it. The fact of the matter is that these companies cannot afford to keep their businesses going with all the prices. They have to pay their energy bills. You know, these groceries, the freezer, the air conditioning, the heat, the light bill, all those, the conveyor belt to keep those things going, cash register, all those. It's a lot of money and a lot of energy. And when the energy bill comes to Loblaws or to, well, there's no Zellers anymore. That's an old school thing. Or Walmart or any of these, Target, any of these people, it's expensive. It's expensive. And the reason is because the energy, first of all, the Tar-Faced Mac Daddy is making it harder for us to get our own energy. Second of all, when we get our energy, there's carbon taxes. So the energy people put the carbon tax on the price of that energy. We used to get energy from other countries, but then what ends up happening is that we get into fights with all these other countries. Look at Russia, by the way. We get into a fight with Russia over something that has nothing to do with us, and then Russia says, well, we're not giving you any more energy anymore, and so now we're stuck with very little. We have an energy crisis. Not to mention the fact that we had these lockdowns, these unnecessary lockdowns, where people weren't able to work. They weren't able to work. They weren't able to produce. They had to stay home over a virus which kills less than 1% of people who get it. And nothing was being done. And now we're catching up. The economy is on death row right now in Canada, in America, in Britain. And to top it all off, the Tar-Faced Mac Daddy says this is a good time to have a 23% hike in the carbon tax. Do you know what that means? Let me explain to you what that means. Let's say most Canadians get their energy, when you turn on your light, when you flush the toilet, when you do, no, not flush the toilet, turn on the light, turn on the heat, air conditioner, it's natural gas, which I think that is what it is. Most Canadians rely on natural gas. So when the natural gas company is doing its business in Alberta or wherever, British Columbia, fracking, which I support 100%, they have to pay a huge amount of tax for every ton of carbon that they emit. And I'm not saying carbon is a good thing, but you see, these are people who we rely on to live, to turn on our lights, to do what we so we don't freeze in the winter time and die of heat stroke in the summertime. It's them who do it, so they have to have the carbon. Just like the farmers, when they do plant their crops and their corn and this and that and blah blah blah, they need to emit carbon. And so now what the tar face Mac that is doing is that the stuff that keeps us alive and not only surviving but thriving is going to cost even more now. So the cost of surviving and thriving is going to cost even more now. And that's going to domino effect on groceries. That's going to domino effect on all different things you don't even consider. That's what's going to happen. Now, as I say, I just saw a comment here. They want us cold and broke. You know something? That is, I believe, the main crux of this. Agenda 2030, you will own nothing and be happy about it. When people are hungry and poor and broke, they are easier to control. And that, I believe, is the reason why these people pretend to care about the environment. The environment is a serious thing, okay? It is a serious problem. But these people don't give a damn. Canada has not met any of its environmental targets. I don't know if we can show any. Do we have any articles about Canada has not met? Canada is one of the only countries. This is for fact. Canada is the one of the only countries in the G7, if not the only country, which hasn't met any of its environmental targets and is not going to meet any of its environmental targets. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not going to happen. No way, no how, no sir, no ma'am, no ham, no turkey. It's not going to happen. Canada is not going to meet any of its targets. They can raise the carbon tax to 100%. It's not going to. It's not going to. In fact, the environment has actually gotten worse in Canada. Can you imagine that? The tar-faced Mac Daddy Trudeau, Justin Trudeau, has been in power since 2015, and that was from 2015 to I think 18 or 19 or whatever. I think it was 2015 to 2018, whatever. He had a majority, and then now the rest of the time he's had to rely on the NDP. He had to rely on the NDP, who are also big on environment. They say they pretend to be. They're not. And the Greens, who pretend to be, but they're not. They don't care about the environment. They're all in the pockets of globalists who are using the crisis of the environment to make themselves rich. And all this time they have been in power, and they have not met any of their climate change targets. And not only that, the environment has actually gotten worse. And meanwhile, Canadians are forced to pay more for groceries, more for their energy. The people who work like dogs to keep our energy, our lights turned on and our cars running and all this stuff, what do they have to show for it? No targets met. And I'm saying no targets will be met, but higher prices, poverty, and increased hunger, which is what they want. That is exactly what they want. That is exactly what they want. It's so hard to drill for oil. They don't want us to frack anymore. Coal, none of that stuff. Here's how I would deal with this environmental business. First of all, I would say every month, every town and city, village in the country plants one tree. one tree every single month. If you chop down a tree in this country, you have to replant it. I would do that. That's how I would sort this out. I would also try to encourage energy companies to move to Canada, not try and chase them away with carbon taxes and all that stuff. You know the reason why I would do that? Because I want these companies to be in a country where they're planting trees like it's no tomorrow instead of them moving to China or to other places or America where they're going to go crazy. There's almost no environmental regulations. China, there's none, and the world is going to be even more filthy. So I'll actually encourage. I won't be banning any. No, I won't ban coal. I won't ban gas. I won't ban nuclear. None of it will be banned. The trees will be planted so that they can suck up all of the carbon, excess carbon that these energy companies produce. I would also try to speed up the process of uh, making the electric car business a little bit easier for people to afford. I wouldn't try and ban gas powered cars. If you want a gas powered car, that's your business. Have it. But I would make it easier for people to get the electric car. And I wouldn't do anything to help anybody who wanted the gas car. If you want it, you get it your own self. We'll install the electric charging stations. I know they do this in Chicago. You know, parking lots. Install an electric station or whatever you call them. Install them in gas stations. Install them all over the place. You know, Canada doesn't do any of those things. You can drive from Halifax to Vancouver, and you could probably count the amount of car charging stations that you will run into on your fingers, on your two hands. But in the meantime, they don't want to do any of those things, but they want to just leech more money off of us, leech more wealth from us, make it harder for us to live because it's not about the environment. When you hear these people talk about environment, it's not about the environment. It's not about, if I were in charge, we would be meeting targets. First of all, I don't believe in these targets, all this Paris Climate Accord and Kyoto Accords. I don't believe in these globalist targets. I just believe in doing things to lessen the amount of carbon we release when there is a deficit of trees out there. I don't believe in these targets and all this stuff. That just complicates things and make people do irrational, dangerous things to meet these globalist created World Economic Forum, United Nations targets. But life is about to get more expensive in Canada. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Okay. The only hope that Canada has is that the election has to be called next year, around this time, maybe a little bit after. And I'll tell you right now, I'm endorsing the Conservatives, Pierre Poilievre. I know a lot of you probably don't trust him. Hell, I don't think he's all that perfect either. But I think he's hell of a lot better than Aaron Trudeau. I mean, Aaron O'Toole was a disaster. He is gone. He's been thrown out. And by the way, I'm so happy that my constituency of Durham has thrown out Aaron O'Toole and has put in its place what's his name? Javil Giovanni, that light skinned guy, bald head. I think he's great. I think he's great. And I'm saying this as an independent. I'm not a conservative. I think he is the best MP that is in that House of Commons at the moment, just based on the things, his views. You know, he's not a globalist conservative. He's not an interventionist. I've heard him say all kinds of stuff that I agree with. So, and I don't think Canada is going to be completely okay just because Pierre Poilievre is in there. Because Canada has been put through so much abuse. And a lot of it, look, a lot of it is also Canadians as well. You know, Canadians elected Trudeau. I tried to warn Canada left, right, and center, up and down. I taught myself till I was blue in the face that this guy was the son of Satan. And they elected him. They said, "Shut up, Michael. Shut up, Michael Arana. Shut up, Arana Nation. We want Trudeau. We want Trudeau. We to hell with Harper. He wasn't perfect, but he had we had the world's richest middle class when he was there. The economy was doing a lot better, balanced budget. But we want Trudeau, Tarfade Mac Daddy, son of Satan. And look now, everybody is now and now and now the Canadians want to get rid of him faster than I don't think Trudeau should resign. I want to see him be humiliated by Pierre Poilievre in the next election. Why should he resign? Only for him to turn around and say the Canadians loved me. They elected me every single time I ran. No, I want him to be humiliated. Don't resign. Don't and I know people go, what? You don't want him to resign. Listen, you Canadians can shut up. Y'all put him in there in the first place. So you made your bed. Now we have to do these things the proper way. But in the meantime, hard times are about to come. Hard times. And before I go any further, I just want to again congratulate Javil Giovanni of the Durham region. This is my region, the Durham constituency, for winning. And I feel so honored that somebody who I feel is one of the greatest members of parliament is actually my member of parliament. I was so ecstatic when I heard that he won. I knew he was going to win because it's a conservative area. You know, where I live is a very conservative, pretty conservative GTA, rural, half suburban area. Liberals don't really do too well here. NDP sooner would win here than Conservatives. It's close to Oshawa. It's north of Oshawa. And Javil Giovanni won. And he won by the largest majority ever seen in this constituency. And that's even better. And I say that as an independent. And you had Doug Ford, the premier. Doug Ford with his fool, pathetic self, saying that he wanted to everything that Javil Giovanni has, he owes it to Doug Ford. He made Javil because Javil Giovanni used to work for Doug Ford before Doug Ford became a sellout. And I made a video on Rumble, rumble.com/@AranaNation, so that you can keep track of me. Made a video saying he would have never worked for you if you acted then the way you're acting now. So I shut Doug Ford down right there and then. Anyway, before we go to a quick break, I just want to appeal to the viewers out there. First of all, I want you to, if you could subscribe to my rumble.com account. Rumble.com/Arana Nation. That way you can keep up with me even when the show is not going on. Keep up with me. Secondly, I would like you to also donate. Now, I have a PayPal account, and I can actually pull it up. I don't know if we can pull it up here, but if we can't, I want to present my link to my carbon tax. What the hell am I talking about here? Carbon tax to my PayPal, because I can do these things, and I really enjoy doing them. I love doing this, but let's face it, I also need help as well. So it's really intuitive. Oh, there it is, right? Oh my gosh, way ahead of me, Mr. Engineer. There it is. PayPal.com /PayPal me /Arana Nation 1993. Look, $1, $2. I mean, if you can give more, then do it. But I'll tell you, I love doing what I do, but to do these things even more effectively requires donations, okay? And to have the urge to continuously do this requires donations, and it would mean a lot to me. Even a dollar. I mean, don't give me a penny. You give me a penny, I'm gonna hunt you down. No, I won't do that. But but even a dollar, something to show gratitude, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, we're 25 minutes in, and we have another about half hour to go, and I've got a few other topics I want to discuss. Let's take a very quick break, and I will be right back with some more of Arana Nation.
Securing your data privacy is more important than ever. Start your free privacy scan and see how much of your data is being sold on the internet. Offering data breach monitoring, bulk data removal, and agency protection, Dataseal.io is the best and most affordable way to secure your data from ending up in the wrong hands. Remove your data today from the internet with Dataseal.io. That's Dataseal.io.
All right, we're back here now, and the next subject I want to talk to you about is something that is really quite. I mean, I don't even want to say funny because it's not funny. It's quite sad and it's quite callous. The fact that we have, and there it is again. Please, if you could to send a donation to PayPal.com/PayPal me /Arana Nation 1993, I would greatly appreciate it. So there is a police officer out there in Toronto. His name escapes me right now. I believe it's an Italian name. Some Italian name out there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. A Toronto police constable has recently given some advice to the growing number of GTA citizens who are worried about home invasions, which home invasion has become a very serious problem in Toronto. And I spoke about this on rumble.com/Arana. But the police officer suggested that if you don't want these burglars to invade your home, then leave your car keys outside for the burglars to take the car keys and take the car. Because according to him, this fool police officer who belongs to the Toronto Police Service, he's a constable, according to him, most burglars, home invaders, they want the car. So if you leave the key out for them to take the car, they won't come into your home. And there, boom shakalaka goes right there, solves home invasion. This is what the Toronto police. Okay, now there's a few things I have to say on this. There it is. Canadian cop advised car owners to leave keys at the front door so thieves can steal without confrontation. And this made world news too, by the way. This made world news. This was in Australia, Britain, America. Fox News talked about it. It made us again a laughing stock. A few things I had to say on this. Number one, I think you could talk to the richest person in the world. I don't know, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Vladimir Putin, whoever. These individuals, I believe, don't have anything in their house worth more than their car. So I'll be honest with you. I'd rather, if you're going to steal from me, I'd rather you take anything you want from this house. You want to take the television, you want to take the computer, you want to take whatever you want from might as well just come in the house and steal whatever you want from the house. And I know then this police officer is going to hear this and be like, oh, well, then he's going to say, oh, well, people like home invasions now. For a police officer to actually think like that is very, very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. And considering the fact that in Canada, at least in Ontario, I don't know about other provinces, if somebody breaks into this house right now, and I decide to take out the gun I have here and I shoot them dead, or even if I just shoot them injured, and that person who broke into my house had a weapon and he was about ready to kill me first, and I take out the gun I have here and I kill him or I injure him, you know who's going to jail? Me. Me. I'm going to jail for that. You are not allowed to, even if I take out a baseball bat and I bust his ass, more than likely that burglar and I are going to be sharing a jail cell. That's how it is in this country. You are not, self-defense is not recognized. And Justin the Tarface Mac Daddy Trudeau has even stated that when he got rid of the handguns just a few short years ago. In fact, I think it was a year ago. He said handguns, the only use for handguns is to kill people. And people said, well, what about self-defense? And he said, we don't recognize self-defense in Canada. That is what the tar-faced Mac Daddy Trudeau, this prime minister, so-called prime minister of this country, the son of Satan, tar-faced Justin, the tar-faced Mac Daddy, son of Satan Trudeau, that's what came out of his dirty ass mouth. And by the way, ass is in the Bible, in case YouTube tries to give the good people at Frontline any problems for me using the word ass. I know it's not going to make any difference because them YouTube people probably don't believe in the Bible anyway. If I were, but anyway, ass is in the Bible. I'm just going to say that right there. So for a police, it's like that is a callous statement for the Toronto police to make. Now, I was locked up back during the lockdown days. I was locked up because I stood by Adam Skelly. I stood by Adam Simbarg. You all remember that. You all remember that. Remember that. I stood by. I was locked up because the government wanted to lock his business down. They even came in the dead of night like thieves in the night, changed his locks. He bust open the place. We all had a big protest. I stood by him. I even whacked one of the officers. Should have whacked him harder, And I don't. The trial is over. I'll say that all I want. Anyway, let me not. I'm doing a show now, and it's not just me. But I won't. I don't want the engineer to get angry with me. But anyway, point being, I was locked up for it. Not only that, I was literally, the police would hunt me down when they heard that I wasn't wearing a mask in a certain place. They would come out of their way to look for me, to give me a ticket for not wearing a mask. But now you've got a situation where home invasions are becoming a huge problem in the GTA, and all this fool, dumb, knucklehead police officer can say is that you might as well leave your keys by the front door so that the burglars don't go into your house. Basically, he's saying, I don't give a damn if they try to come into your house. We're too lazy. We're too lazy to be dealing with home invaders. We're too lazy to deal with car invaders. We'd much rather go after people who don't wear masks. We'd much rather arrest rebel news reporters when they ask globalist politicians like Chrystia Freeland impertinent questions. You know how many times David Menzies has been attacked and assaulted and beaten by these various police officers, mostly in Toronto, because he tries to ask either Chrystia Freeland a question or Justin the Tarface Mac Daddy Trudeau a question or some other liberal globalist politician a question. And the police, they don't like it, they're offended, and they want to tear up David Menzies. They're too busy doing those things. But when it comes to, I heard a story, and I believe it. In fact, the news, the mainstream media, people always still like to believe the mainstream media. They're the legitimate ones. Well, okay, here you go. The mainstream media actually ran a report many years, not many years, a few years ago. In fact, I think it was a year ago. An old lady had her home broken into, apartment broken into. She called the police, and the police officer said, complain to the mayor. Complain to the mayor. Now, if that lady owned a business and someone walked into that business during coronavirus with no mask, the police would do everything they could to tear down Toronto to look for that person who didn't wear that. Now, they would hunt him down like the SEALs hunt bin Laden. Even worse than that, to try and find the person who wasn't wearing a mask. If they hear that David Menzies is asking Chrystia Freeland hard questions in a scrum, police are going to move heaven and earth to try and get at David Menzies and beat him up and rough him up and tear him up and attack him and humiliate him and try and lock him up, only to just release him because even the law, at least for right now, doesn't support him being detained in that way. You see where the police's priorities are? If a group of young people decide to say the words, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, a statement which I agree with, by the way. I don't care. Some Zionists, I don't care. And some young person decides to hold a rally with a bunch of Palestine flags and are condemning the atrocities of Israel. I'm not saying that Hamas is perfect, but I think Israel has done far worse. And a group of young people decide to protest and support of Palestine, the police will move heaven and earth to make sure that they surround that protest, and they will go after anybody who says a simple slogan like, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. There was actually somebody arrested just for saying that slogan. But people can break into homes, break into cars, and all the police can do is say, complain to the mayor and leave your keys on the front porch so that they don't go into your house, but they take the car. So, you know what my view is on this? I believe that maybe the police, at least the Toronto police, should just be defunded. Defund the Toronto police. Why not? Why not? I'm sure some people are going to be angry at me for saying this, and I'm not saying it for the reasons that leftists say it. I'm saying it is because they're useless. As a matter of fact, they're worse than useless. They're gangsters. The only use the Toronto police and most Canadian police services have, at least in this day and age, is to be a nuisance. If somebody wants to stand up against medical tyranny, if people want to stand up against lockdowns and against their businesses being forced to be closed, and rebel news reporters want to ask these liberal politicians tough questions, that's when the police are doing their thing. That's when they're doing their thing. When it comes to home invasions, car invasions, hell, even subway assaults, subway, the crime has just increased. Toronto police don't care. And that is that is not caring. For a police officer to say leave you to that, it's almost like he is it's like making fun of the people of the GTA. Oh, just leave your key out in the front. It's like, you know, let me try and reenact how this went, or at least how I think this went. Mr. Police Officer, Constable, what can we do? What can we do? Our homes are being broken into, Mr. Policeman. You know, we are scared over here. We're not allowed to defend ourselves over here. We need answers. And this is a Toronto policeman. Well, the best thing you could do is to leave your key by the front porch, and then the burglars, they won't go into your home, they won't go into your home. They'll get the car because that's what they want. So if you leave your key out there, they'll take the key and they won't go in your house. That's how I see that playing out. And I believe that guy is laughing all the way home. He is laughing all the way home. And all his police officer buddies, they're laughing all the way home when they hear about all these burglars. And they couldn't be bothered with that. They don't care about that. There was once a time when Canadian police I believe, were some of the best in the world. They would help you. You're new to Toronto. The first thing you do is look for a policeman. He'll guide you. He'll tell you the way. Cross little children across the street so they don't get harmed. They would uphold the law. Now, the only use the police have in Canada, I say all of Canada, but especially here, is to be a nuisance. It's to just be a damn nuisance. And I say just defund the hell out of them. If they're not going to protect the public, if they are so uninterested in the issues that are surrounding Toronto when it comes to home. Do you know what home invasion is? This house has been not this house. My parents' house has been broken into. Do you know what that's like? It's not a joke to have your house broken into, to come to your home from the grocery store, to see a big, huge smash on your window, to wonder if there is some strange, disgusting person in the house somewhere with a gun ready to kill you. And you are so frightened, you are ready to piss your pants. You decide, you walk in the door, there's a huge break in your window. And it almost takes you a minute before you decide, well, we should probably call the police, because you were in such shock and you were in such fear. It's the early evening, 7:00, around this time, coming back from the grocery store. And you don't know whether that person who has broken that window is still in that house. It is not a fun thing to have your house broken into. It is one of the worst feelings ever. And to call the police with that fear and that anger, but mostly fear, and all the fat, pot-bellied son of a biatch could do or say with that stupid uniform on, which he doesn't deserve to wear, with that gun on his side, which he only uses for people who want to stand up for their freedoms, and those handcuffs on his side, which he only uses on David Menzies when he's asking Christian Freeland tough questions, is to call the mayor or leave your key outside so that they take your car. You should have left your key outside. It's like something like that is, I've said this before, that this country has a huge curse on it by God because of the mistakes that we as a people have made in electing people like Trudeau and supporting all these very anti-God, globalist, New World Order things going back centuries, well, not centuries, decades, the 60s. That could be part of it. But I think even God has his limits. You know, to come home to your home where you're supposed to feel safe, and you see a big, huge boot smash. You just come home, your window is smashed. This has happened to my parents. The window is smashed, and God only knows who could be in that house waiting for you. He hears the door coming. He hears people coming in, and he knows, oh, I ain't getting out of this alive. So my only option is to kill whoever's coming into this house and then turn the gun on myself so I don't spend the rest of my life in jail. Well, in Canada, you probably wouldn't spend the rest of your life in jail. The police would probably take him and give him a conditional release, and then he'd be on his way and to rob another house. But regardless, he doesn't want these people to know that someone is in the house. So he's probably armed, and the legal, law-abiding person who's coming back from the grocery store is not armed, because the tar-faced Mac Daddy says he's not allowed to defend himself. But this guy who got the gun illegally somewhere is armed, and he is like, this is it. My cover's blown. I'm about ready to kill whoever's coming into this house, and I'll put the bullet on myself. And then you realize, okay, maybe there's nobody in the house. It's time to call the cops. And the cop can only tell you to call the mayor or some joke-ass statement like that. I think even God has his limits. I believe in my heart that God is punishing Canada because of our mistakes, but I think even God has his limits. And it's things like this that are happening across the country, which is why I believe the only way Justin the Tar-faced Mac Daddy Trudeau has a chance at winning the next election is if he rigs it, which I think he probably will try to do. So all we can do is pray. But I think, and I actually called the Toronto police when I heard the news. It was actually the engineer who does my who does the hour-long show who told me about this and who said maybe we should talk about this. I called the police. I called the Toronto police, the non-emergency line, and I stripped a good chunk of skin off of them verbally. The woman was trying to give me attitude. Who are you talking to? I said, listen to me. You're not scared. A police. What did I tell the woman? You can sound as combative as you want, but I am not afraid of an organization who is too chicken to go after home invaders. So you can sound as combative with me as you want. You hang up on me, I'll call you back again and tear another chunk off of you. The woman was speechless. I think what we should do is call the Toronto Police Service and demand that police officer is fired for that. Even Doug Ford, the sellout, was speechless about what he heard. He said, what did he say? He said it's almost like inviting Santa Claus over or something, leaving the key up. Might as well leave milk and cookies out for the burglars. What is this police officer's name? Hang on, mister. I'm going to look this name up right now on my phone. On Google here. Toronto Policeman Key. That's all I have to put in Google. And they will give the name. Come on now. Tell me the name. I see the face here now. Some Marco something. I don't know. Where is it? They're hiding in Marco Ricciardi. Marco Ricciardi. Constable Marco Ricciardi advised residents to leave their car keys at the front door to avoid break-in. There he is right there. There he is right there. There he is right there. Look at this guy. We call the non-emergency line. Be peaceful. Don't threaten or anything, but be firm too. Be firm. Because these guys shouldn't be taken seriously. Be firm. He should be thrown out of the police service. Call the non-emergency Toronto. I did it. I mean, you don't have to call back. I didn't call back. They did hang up, and I didn't bother calling back. And but I did call the woman, and I mean, it's too much, man. You know, I was arrested. I was hunted down to give tickets and all this stuff like that when I didn't want to do the mask, when I stood up for Adamson Barbecue. And this is how they deal with home invasions. Anyway, I'm done with this topic now. The last thing I want to talk about before we go, because we've got now 10 more minutes left, is, and I want to get to some comments and respond because I love doing that. Vladimir Putin has just been reelected in Russia with another huge majority, another huge landslide. Now, I'm sure a lot of you maybe not, because you know, by and large, my followers are pretty smart. They're not easily conned by the mainstream media, but there's a good chance some of you have fallen for the whole Putin is evil, Putin is this, Putin. But I'll tell you this: I think Putin is the greatest leader the world has at this very moment. Now, maybe in the next few months, a better leader will come along. But I think right now, March 17th, 2023, 7:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Vladimir Putin is the best world leader there is right now. And I also believe Vladimir Putin is the only living person alive on this planet right now. The only living thing, never mind person, the only living thing on this planet right now, which is preventing the new world order from completely dominating the world. It's Vladimir Putin. That's why they're all against him. NATO is against him. All these Western puppet leaders are against him. The EU is against him. The UN is against him. The left-wing woke people, they're all against him. And he has survived them all. I mean, Putin has been president since 1999, 2000. I mean, that was when I was in elementary school, grade 3, grade 2. Ever since I'm 31 years old, grade 2, up until now, the president has been Vladimir Putin. I think there was a little time when I don't know, Medvedev or something, but it's mostly Putin. And he has survived all of them. He has survived George Bush, Barack Obama, Trump, Biden. He's survived, and none of them have ever liked him. None of them have ever liked him. None of them have ever liked him. And he has survived them all. You think that this war in Ukraine is Putin versus Russia? No. It is the West versus Russia. And he is beating all of them. All the money they're giving, all the weapons, all this stuff. That cross-dresser Zelensky doesn't stand up. He is beating all of them. All of them. And I'm seeing, Putin flipped to prime minister for 4 years while Medvedev served as president. But Medvedev was just Putin. That was Putin. That doesn't even make sense to mention Medvedev. And I think Medvedev's a great person, by the way, but I'm just saying that's Putin. That's like saying Trump became vice president and Sarah Palin became president. What the hell is that? That's Trump. There's nothing different is going to come from Sarah Palin that Trump isn't going to do. But he won tonight. He's got, 70-something% of the vote? And those regions in Ukraine, which, by the way, are mostly Russian people, Russian-speaking people who were abused by Ukrainians, most of them wanted to become Russians. In fact, over 90% of them wanted to be Russians. And Putin has won in those regions. So I congratulate Putin. I have no shame in saying that. Yeah and amen. Boom shakalaka goes right there. Putin has won. And I don't care about rigging election. He may have rigged it. Hey, maybe he did. I think Western leaders rig. I think the 2020. Anyway, maybe I shouldn't say that because this show is also on YouTube, and but you all know what I want to say. We know about 2020. We know, and I say it on Rumble, and I would say it here too, but I don't want to sabotage other people's things because they've been so kind enough to share my information with their audience. So we'll just keep it there. Let's see some comments over here. I've seen comments and I haven't been able to respond to them. Let's see some comments. YouTube backtrack on that. You're allowed to question it now. YouTube. Well, you know what? I'm going to questions. I don't care about YouTube. Okay, let's say the 2020 election was rigged. Rigged. It was rigged. It was rigged. It was rigged. I think it was rigged. I think it was rigged. Rigged, rigid, rigged. Thank you very much, Silent Walk. Please subscribe to me on rumble.com/Arana Nation. And if you can, donate to me on my PayPal, please, and thank you. Even if it's $1, there's the PayPal link right there. I'll say it out in case we have blind viewers. You know, www.paypal.com/PayPal me/Arana Nation 1993. I'm happy with $1. I'm happy with $1. Now, if you go in there and give me a penny, we're gonna have a problem. I'll take you outside. But if you $1 is fine. You know, I know times are hard. I know it's gonna get even harder, and most of my audience is Canadian. And Justin the Tarface Mac Daddy Trudeau is about to destroy us all with the carbon tax, and it's deliberate. It's deliberate. He doesn't care about the environment. I told you that right now. Robert, he's gonna add me to his Rumble list. Thank you very much, Robert. And if you would like to donate, please do so. Silent Walk, hey Arana, how are you? I am doing great. I am blessed. Yay and amen. And boom, shakalaka goes right there. I am blessed. I am blessed. I am in the blood. I am alive. I know the world around us is not doing well, but I have the fight. I just seen a link on YouTube. Trudeau is set to resign. He might, but I don't want him to. I don't want him to. I think he should be beaten by Poilievre because that's what's going to happen if there's an election. He'll be beaten by Poilievre. I didn't believe that with O'Toole. I knew Trudeau was going to roll over Arana Trudeau, that sellout who tried to think he could win by being a second Trudeau. And Trudeau, the tar-faced Mac Daddy, rolled all over him. I didn't even vote for O'Toole. I voted for PPC. I knew Scheer wasn't going to win either, but Poilievre is going to win. And I would rather see, hang on, don't leave that comment right there, but I want to just say this. I'd rather see Trudeau humiliated and beaten than him resigning and saying and bragging that he won every election he was in, which he didn't, but you know. Anyway, party fun on Rumble. Let's just leave the car running so they have heat when they steal it. I'm going to tell you this, and I don't care. I'm going to tell you this. Even though self-defense is against the law in Canada, if you break into my house, that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm not going to call any police. I will defend myself, whether it's with my party favor or if it anyway. So why am I being something anyway? I will defend my. Let's just say that. Okay, I'm seeing some things here about muting and unmuting, and maybe I'm not supposed to say that, but anyway, you know what? Don't come robbing this place. That's all I'll say. Remember blackface saying, if not vaccinated, you will not travel. I traveled and I wasn't vaccinated. There were things I did that I had my little ways, and I explained them on Rumble. I did some things digitally to make sure that I could travel. People thought I was vaccinated, but I wasn't, and I still am not, and I never will be. That's one of the best things I ever did in my life, is not getting that vaccine, or V. Maybe I shouldn't say vaccine. V. This is why you guys need to subscribe to me on Rumble, rumble.com/Arana. I can say all these things. Anyway, time is we are now down to our last seconds here. Why would Russia blow up its own pipeline? It didn't blow up its own pipeline. It's America that did it. Biden that did it. Britain or Germany or whoever. Russia didn't blow up its own pipeline. That is the biggest lie I've heard in a long time. Russia blowing up its own pipeline. The biggest lie out there. But we need to have a watchful eye on our forests this spring and summer. because I'm sure it will intentionally burn. Well, a lot of people have actually been charged with arson over the last summer. A lot of those forest fires, even the mainstream media saying a lot of them were arson. And again, I believe in the whole global warming thing, but I do believe that the globalists are using it to line their own pockets and to make us less powerful and to make them more powerful. And they want to exacerbate the problem so that they make us even more afraid. It's like 9/11. You know what I mean? They exacerbate the problem to make us afraid, make us more controlled, make themselves more powerful and richer. And now the hour mark has struck. And I just have to say thank you for watching, everybody. My name is Michael Arana. I am the Commander-in-Chief of Arana Nation, the nation where the masses can walk barefoot because the ground is so holy. I will see you not next Sunday, but the Sunday after with another show. Take care and God bless. If the government of Ontario, the people who make these rules, the chief medical officer doesn't believe that the mask is important, why the hell should I? Listen, no. Ain't doing it. I ain't doing it, especially now. Hello?